This is a Louie Tee Network exclusive.
Who else could it be? With me, join me, Louie Tee. Welcome, you are in the lab room, of course. I am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me on the 2016 NFL Draft Prospects 101 series, your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names. The 2016 NFL Draft. We've knocked down the big five at the quarterback position, and as you've seen over the years, especially in this past year's Super Bowl 50 with the Denver Broncos and their triumphant victory over the Carolina Panthers, this league is about quarterbacks and the ability to get to the quarterback. And I think the next biggest position after quarterback, and we can talk about offensive linemen, and we'll get to those guys eventually in this process. But let's talk about the guys that go hunt the quarterback, guys that can get to the quarterback and disrupt the timing of the opposition and the opposing offense. We're talking about edge rushers, and there are a number of guys that come to mind when you start talking about pass rushers in this upcoming class. You've got the Joey Bozas of the world, you've got the Leonard Floyds of the world, but this is a guy that I'm about to talk about that could surprise many, not on a lot of people's radars per se, but he's been gaining a lot of steam, especially after he went out and balled at the Senior Bowl. I'm talking about Eastern Kentucky player Noah Spence. And his path taken to this point is the path seldomly traveled. A lot of guys don't want to end up in the predicament he found himself in, having to transfer to Eastern Kentucky, but the past is the past if you ask Noah Spence, and the future is very bright for him. Let's talk about why this guy has risen up draft boards and could potentially be a top 10 pick in the spring in the 2016 NFL Draft. You start with his size, and you start with his pros, and his size at 6'2", 254 pounds is a hardy one. Very good size for a guy that can play multiple positions, and I think at 6'2", 254, enough girth to set the edge in the run game, but still big enough to take on the rigors of the NFL, and more importantly, beat tackles off the line of scrimmage, get to the quarterback, and that's what it's all about when you're talking about edge pass rushers. Provides versatility is the next pro for Noah Spence, and at Ohio State, where he was at one point a first-team all-defensive football player for them in his sophomore season. Here's a guy that played defensive end and stood up, so you're getting the versatility of a guy that can play from a four-point stance, hand in the dirt, and rush the quarterback that way, or you're talking about a guy that can stand up in a two-point stance, and they would move him from left to right on the defensive line. They would move him from left to right as a rusher off the edge in a two-point stance. So he's a guy that provides some versatility for your defense, and he did it both at Ohio State and at Eastern Kentucky as well. So this is a guy, once again, that provides you with the different things you're looking for in terms of versatility, which means he's scheme diverse. 3-4, 4-3 base end, 3-4 outside linebacker. I think he can do it both. I think he's better at one than the other, and I think he projects better. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on as to which one he projects better as, but just know that he's a versatile guy, played both defensive end and outside linebacker. So he can do a bit of both, juggled and toggled between the two, while at both Eastern Kentucky and at Ohio State. Relentless motor, and I think this is one of his biggest attributes, is his ability to just not give up on a play. I mean, I don't think there was one snap where I said, oh, he's not hustling. The guy from snap to snap, from whistle to whistle, from sideline to sideline, you're getting every single ounce of energy that Noah Spence has. And there's no quitting this guy. He'll get a sack where he had to run around the tackle twice to get to the quarterback. He'll make a tackle 15 yards down the field where he went up the field 5 yards, then had to turn around, double back, and hightail it 15 yards up the field to tackle a receiver who was getting loose on a wide receiver screen. He's that type of player, relentless motor. That's one thing you don't have to worry about with Noah Spence is his motor running hot and cold. That thing is always hot and it's always moving at the highest RPM level possible. Explosive off the edge, and this is a guy that you saw it at Ohio State in his brief career there. You saw it at Eastern Kentucky. This is a guy that is extremely explosive off the edge, can get out of his stance and get up the field, and sometimes he'll beat a tackle before they even get a chance to lay a finger on him. He's a very dynamic rusher. When he is clicking on all cylinders, when he's able to time up the snap count, when he's able to get into that zone, he's a guy that can really impact a football game. There were several games where you saw this guy on tape really doing some serious damage. I remember the first game, one of the first games that I saw him at Eastern Kentucky. They're playing against, I want to say it was NC State, Jacoby Brissett and company, and they were doubling this guy. You knew they knew who he was, okay? And normally when you're playing against a school that's not a Division I school, you're not worried about any of their players. But they knew exactly who Noah Spence was. They knew exactly what they had to do. There was always a back dedicated to him wherever he was. Whatever side he lined up on, NC State made sure that the back was in on protection. He was helping out the tackle wherever Noah Spence was, and he needed it because Noah Spence was beating those tackles all game long. He forced a fumble in that football game. He had some pressure on Jacoby Brissett early in that ball game, and there were other times where he probably would have hit home had the back not been there to help that tackle out. So they knew about the explosion, and he can get up the field with the best of them. And I think that's something that we saw at the Senior Bowl, the explosion, the dynamic athleticism, some of the things that he brings to the table. He was by far head and shoulders above the rest of the competition at the Senior Bowl defensively, and you saw why this guy could potentially be a top 10 pick, and you saw it on tape as well with the explosiveness off the snap, off the edge. Next pro, bevy of moves, and the thing that I think separate the elite pass rushers in this league from the ordinary guys is, do you have a counter to the best thing you got? You got a fastball, great, everybody's got a fastball. It's like a pitcher in baseball. Hell, everybody's got a fastball. Maybe not, some fastballs are faster than others. Yours may be 93, his may be 95, his may be 97, but everybody's got a fastball. Everybody knows how to throw it straight. What do you have as a counter to that fastball? Do you got a split finger? Do you have a curveball? You got a slider? You got a changeup? What do you got? You got to have something that plays off of the fastball. And for pass rushers, everyone's most likely got a straight speed rush with a rip up the field in their arsenal. If you're an elite pass rusher, that's just something that is embedded. It comes with the pre-packaging of an elite rusher. The question is, what other features do you have? What else can you pull out of your bag of tricks? Do you have a spin move? You got an inside swim move? Do you have a hard outside back inside move? What else can you bring to the table? Well, he can go with the speed and rip. That's standard. He can go inside though with the swim move, which is also something that he can win with. And then he's got a bull rush. I'm not that sure his bull rush is as impactful as it could be because it's a big, physical, strong kid. I think his bull rush needs some refining, and if he gets with the right coach, teaches him the right technique, I think his bull rush could also be something that he could go to and get to the quarterback and get more pressure through that move as well. I think his bull rush is okay, but I think it can be much better, more impactful. But the rip and speed outside is his A move. That is his go-to fastball. And off of that, you'll get the rip swim move inside. You'll also get the spin move. Occasionally, you don't see it as often as maybe you would like to, but you'll see that. You'll definitely see a bull rush as well, but I think that needs some fine tuning. But again, I just like to see guys using a bevy of moves, and you get that from Noah Spence. Can drop into coverage. Now, I'm very anxious to see him at the combine in terms of how he moves in space, because he looks a little stiff in coverage. He looks a little mechanical when he's out in space. Doesn't look like a natural fluid athlete when you ask him to drop into coverage. So that's not something that I'm pretty sure of quite yet. I don't know if I trust him out in space to be a playmaker. I think he's a guy that can fill a space. He can do a job, but you want more than guys that are just doing their jobs. You want guys that are playmakers. And I don't know if he's dropping under an out route in the AFC Championship game and picking off Tom Brady like Von Miller. And everybody's going to be looking for a Von Miller where he's not Von Miller. Okay, and then again, no one is. Okay, Von Miller was the second pick in the draft for a reason. Guy is a stud. He's a freak of nature. That's not what you're getting out of Noah Spence, but I think this guy is a very good athlete that can be explosive and can get to the quarterback if put in the right situations to do so. 20 and a half career sacks for this guy. He amassed around 9.5 or so at Ohio State, 9 or 9.5, and then another 11.5 last season at Eastern Kentucky. So this is a guy that can get to the quarterback. I think it was either 11.5, 12.5, 13.5. I think it was 11.5. With a boatload of tackles for loss, like 22. So the guy is impactful. You saw it on tape. And so there are a lot of things that he brings to the table. And I think that's why a lot of people are salivating over Noah Spence and his potential at the next level. You go to his cons. Needs to be more physical at the point of attack. Was not pleased with him in the run game. This goes back to Ohio State. Noah Spence, to me, was a guy that you could push around at the point of attack. I saw tight ends giving him work. I saw tackles. And normally, when you're talking about a big-time run-stuffing, pass-rushing playmaker on the edge, you got to either double-team that guy to get him out of the play, or you really got to get him good. I mean, you got to catch him, get up under his pads, and drive him out of the way. Noah Spence was getting worked by guys that I felt like had no business being able to block him one-on-one and move him out of the way. He was very unimpactful in the run game at Ohio State and even to a degree at Eastern Kentucky. Now, he's a guy that will get out of the way, will dodge a block, and get into the backfield. He's very adept at doing that, but when he's taking on a block, he can be moved 2-3 yards off the line of scrimmage. And again, for a guy his size, he's a big guy. I want to see him play tougher at the point of attack. I want to see him be a little bit more physical, play with a little bit more leverage in the run game, and be able to hold his position at the point of attack. His awareness is the next con. Sometimes, this is the thing. Don't be a meathead, okay? Don't be a meathead. Understand what guys are trying to do to you. Understand what the offense is trying to do to you, okay? So let me give you some examples of what I mean about awareness and not being a meathead. So he's at Eastern Kentucky. He's playing against Valparaiso. And I think the Valparaiso game plan was, hey, this guy's explosive. He's a disruptor. We don't want to deal with him. We don't have any guys that we feel comfortable blocking Noah Spence one-on-one. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the football out of our quarterback's hand very quickly. I'm talking 3-step drop. I'm talking football is hitting the quarterback's hand, hitch and go. As soon as you get it, pivot, throw the football, get it out your hands. What comes with that is a lot of bubble screens, a lot of hitches, a lot of stops, and a lot of speed outs and things that are very rapid, okay? What also comes with that, a lot of cut blocks. So, after the first 2 or 3 cut blocks, you should say, all right, okay, you got me. All right, you cut me, you got me. Maybe after the 3rd or 4th one, you said, okay, that's enough. After the 4th one, you should be saying, okay, I'm looking for the cut block. You're not cutting me anymore, okay? Enough's enough. This guy got cut about 12 times in that one game, and he kept falling for it, and he kept being pushed out of the play. And I'm like, dude, at what point do you say to yourself, okay, I'm not coming after him here. I see what the tackle's doing. He's about to go down on me. Okay, he's about to try and cut block me. Get your head out of the gutter, guys. He's about to try to cut block me. Sidestep it, jump, deflect a pass, do something, sidestep it, jump over it. Push him down, do something. Don't let these guys cut you repeatedly. He got cut like 12 times in that game versus Valparaiso. I'm like, dude, seriously, don't be a meathead. Don't keep busting your head up against a brick wall. Do something else. They're obviously trying to cut you because you're an impact player. Do something to deter that. He never did anything in that game to deter that. Then he's a guy that will go up the field. Okay, so obviously, if a tackle doesn't lay a finger on you and they let you go up the field, something's up. Something's fishy. I'm smelling something. I don't know what it is, but something's fishy. Well, either it's a screen of some sort, whether it's to the back or it's to a receiver, a tunnel screen, a wide receiver screen. jailbreak screen, something, okay? If they let you up the field like that and it's a run, it's a delay, okay? They want you to go up the field, ole! Send you up the field, open up a big gaping hole, some kind of draw or something. He would go up the field unmolested and run 5 yards out of the play, only to have the back go exactly where he was. Or they'll throw a screen right behind him and now he's out of the play and he can't make a play. And I'm like, hey dude, hey, no, look at me. They're running a screen, buddy, okay? How many times do you have to see it before you realize what they're trying to do to you and you make a play on it, okay? And so those are the things what I mean when I say don't be a meathead. Be aware. Know what's going on. Know that they're letting you up the field because they're setting you up and they want you to go up the field. Okay, don't make their job easy on them. Do something. Don't let them cut you repeatedly over and over and over. Do something. Make a play. Don't be a meathead, man. And finally, the big elephant in the room with Noah Spence, the reason why he ended up at Eastern Kentucky, off the field transgressions, 2 failed drug tests got him kicked out of Ohio State, wasn't able to play in his junior season, and he could have went into the NFL then. He could have said, you know what, I had a couple of good seasons, my tape speaks for itself, I'm a guy that can change the game as a rusher, I'm going into the league. But he said, no, I'm going to right my wrongs, I'm going to show everyone that I'm rehabilitated. He had to go into a clinic because he was addicted to ecstasy. So he's had some off the field transgressions, had some issues, some demons. He looks to be over them. Again, I can't say what he is or he isn't, but he went to Eastern Kentucky to show everyone, hey, not only am I going to finish what I started as a collegiate athlete, but I'm going to show you that I'm clean. I'm going to be tested very vigorously. I'm going to pass all of these tests. I'm going to dominate the competition while I'm here, showing you that I'm a reformed guy and that you can trust me with lots and lots of money at your program at the next level to produce for you and not get in trouble. I'm a better human being. I'm a better young man. So he went to Eastern Kentucky to prove that. By all accounts, it seems like he's turned his life around. Again, I can't confirm nor deny that. All I know is that he played a full season, no transgressions, nothing off the field of any kind of sort from Noah Spence. He seems to be a guy that, you know, they're going to ask him every single question in the book when it comes to his past and is how has he dealt with it and what are the things that he's put in place in his life to help him stay clear of any of those bad habits that he formed in the past. So we'll see how he deals with that whole process. But if he answers those questions correctly, if he continues to ball out like he did at the Senior Bowl, if he goes to the combine and blazes it and then does the same thing at his pro day, this guy's going to be a top 15 pick for sure, because pass rushers are something that are of the utmost premium in this league. We saw it in the Super Bowl what a pass rush can do for you, and Noah Spence is going to be one of the best pass rushers in the 2016 NFL Draft. That's Noah Spence in a nutshell. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. We're going to talk about pass rushers. We're going to break them down. And so we got more pass rushers, edge rushers to talk about here on the 2016 NFL Draft Prospects 101 series. See you next time. There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie Tee, be sure to follow me on Twitter at InTheLabRoom, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.